Hey, don't you find it weird that we barely talk about prevention when it comes to breast cancer? Even during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the most you hear about is early detection. I've got something to read to you. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up, Let Me Read You This. Today I'm reading from How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and Jean Stone. I'm reading from Chapter 11, How Not to Die from Breast Cancer. Current controversy over the cost-effectiveness of mammograms misses an important point. Breast cancer screening, by definition, does not prevent breast cancer. It can just pick up existing breast cancer. Based on autopsy studies, as many as 39% of women in their 40s already have breast cancer growing within their bodies that may simply be too small to be detected by mammograms. That's why you can't wait until diagnosis to start eating and living healthier. You should start tonight. Risk factors for breast cancer. The American Institute for Cancer Research, also known as AICR, is considered one of the world's leading authorities on diet and cancer. Based on the best available research, it came up with 10 recommendations for cancer prevention. Beyond never chewing tobacco, their bottom line dietary message was diets that revolve around whole plant foods, vegetables, whole grains, fruits, and beans, cut the risk of cancers and other diseases as well. To demonstrate how dramatically lifestyle choices can impact breast cancer risk, over the course of about 7 years, researchers followed a group of about 30,000 postmenopausal women with no history of breast cancer. Achieving just 3 of the 10 AICR recommendations, limiting alcohol, eating mostly plant foods, and maintaining a normal body weight, was associated with 62% lower risk of breast cancer. Yup, 3 simple health behaviors appeared to cut the risk by more than half. Remarkably, eating a plant-based diet along with walking every day can improve our cancer defenses in just 2 weeks. Researchers dripped the blood of women before and after 14 days of living healthily onto breast cancer cells growing in petri dishes. The blood taken after they started eating healthier suppressed cancer growth significantly better and killed 20 to 30% more cancer cells than the blood taken from the same women just 2 weeks before. The researchers attributed this effect to their decrease in levels of cancer-promoting growth hormone called IGF-1. Found in animal protein. Hey, remember what I was talking about with breast cancer and prevention? I have more to read to you. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up, Let Me Read You This. Today, again, I'm reading from How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and Jean Stone. Still reading from How Not to Die from Breast Cancer. Melatonin and breast cancer risk. Starting from the middle of this section so I don't run out of time. In philosophy, there is a flawed argument called the appeal to nature fallacy, in which someone proposes that something is good merely because it is natural. In biology, however, this may hold some truth. The conditions under which our bodies were finely tuned over millions of years can sometimes give us insight into our optimal functioning. For example, we evolved running around naked in equatorial Africa. Therefore, it's not surprising that many of us modern humans become deficient in vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin, if we live in northern climates or in countries where cultures dictate full body coverings for women. Could something as ubiquitous as a light bulb be a mixed blessing? Right in the middle of your brain sits the pineal gland, your so-called third eye. It's connected to your actual eyes and has just one function: to produce a hormone called melatonin. During the day, the pineal gland is inactive, but once the sky darkens, it activates and begins pumping melatonin into your bloodstream. You start getting tired, feel less alert, and start thinking about sleep. Melatonin secretion may peak between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. and then shuts off at daybreak, which is your cue to wake up. The level of melatonin in your bloodstream is one of the ways that your internal organs know what time it is. It functions as one hand on your circadian clock. Besides helping to regulate sleep, melatonin is thought to play another role: suppressing cancer growth. Think of melatonin as helping to put cancer cells to sleep at night. To see if this function applies to preventing breast cancer, researchers from Birmingham and Women's Hospital in Boston and elsewhere came up with a clever idea of studying blind women. The thought was that because blind women can't see sunlight, their pineal gland never stops secreting melatonin into their bloodstreams. Sure enough, the researchers found that blind women may have just half the odds of breast cancer as sighted women. Conversely, women who interrupt their melatonin production by working night shift appear to be at increased risk for breast cancer. I'm still gonna need a part 2. It's me again. Still talking breast cancer prevention. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up, Let Me Read You This. Reading from How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and Jean Stone. I'm picking up right where I left off, so if you didn't watch my last video about this, go watch that and then come back. Where were we? Even living on a particularly bright lit street may affect this risk. Studies comparing nighttime satellite photos against breast cancer rates have found that people living in brighter neighborhoods tend to have higher breast cancer risk. Therefore, it's probably best to sleep without any lights on and with the blinds down, though the evidence to support these strategies is limited. Melatonin production can be gauged by measuring the amount of melatonin excreted in our first pee in the morning. And indeed, women with higher melatonin secretion have been found to have lower rates of breast cancer. Other than minimizing nighttime light exposure, is there anything else that you can do to keep up your production of melatonin? Apparently so. In 2005, Japanese researchers reported an association between higher vegetable intake and higher melatonin levels in the urine. Is there anything in your diet that may lower melatonin production, thereby potentially increasing the risk of breast cancer? We didn't know until a comprehensive study of diet and melatonin was published in 2009. Researchers at Harvard University asked nearly 1,000 women about their consumption of 38 different foods or food groups and measured their morning melatonin levels. Meat consumption was the only food significantly associated with lower melatonin production, for reasons that are yet unknown. Minimizing melatonin disruption may therefore mean putting curtains on your windows, eating more vegetables, and lowering the curtain on eating too much meat.